All right, everybody, welcome back to Kings of Opinion. I'm here with the usual suspects, Wander and Ernie. Everyone, say hello to the crowd.
Hello, gang.
How are you, fam?
All right, so what am I going to rant about this week? I could choose a number of things, and I think I'm going to combine them all into one. So last week, you saw me be really excited about the Jets Buffalo game. And I probably should have threw a short little clip on Instagram, but I didn't because I wanted to wait for me to calm down a little bit. And I'm a little bit more calm now about this whole Aaron Rodgers saga pretty much being over for the year. Um,
Just a few plays in.
yeah, like literally the first set of plays, I think he lasted 30 seconds, and I think it was 3 plays. And obviously, he has a ruptured Achilles. If anyone out there has been hiding under a rock for the last week, and he's done for the season. And I can just tell you this, guys. I was out last night at not last night, last week for Monday Night Football at Fallon's, and we're watching that game. And as soon as he goes down, the entire bar went silent. There's a bunch of Jet fans, like
You
30
can
or
hear a
40
pin
of us.
drop.
It was silent,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh. And as we're watching the game, it was a very good game. The Jets actually won that game, which was the backstory of all this stuff with the whole Rodgers thing. And you just hear, oh, it might be this or it might be that. And then it winds up the next day, the MRI was confirming that it was a ruptured Achilles.
And you know, it's like when you saw him sitting on the ground, it didn't look like much. The replay didn't look like it was much, but you just knew that the luck of the Jets that it was going to be worse than it looked, and
it was.
boy was it.
As,
Yeah, go ahead.
as my friend Rob likes to say, he says they're cursed.
Right. And that's the thing, right? So like why are they cursed, right? So there could be a bunch of reasons why. My take on it is Woody Johnson is some kind of a bastard and he did something he wasn't supposed to do and he owns the Jets and that's why they're cursed. It's as simple as that. You know, I don't know what he did. I'm not even gonna make any allegations, but there's something that man did, and now the Jets will pretty much never win. So just, buckle up, enjoy the season, the highs and lows now. Like we're not going to win every game. I mean, we weren't with Aaron Rodgers anyway, but, if we would have won 11, 12 games, like we'd mostly see wins every week and it'd be a nice season. Now we got to worry about Zach Wilson being a bum and not playing like an NFL quarterback and relying on the defense. And it was proof yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys. The defense looked shitty, and they looked shitty all day. They really didn't do what they should have done, like they did with the Bills. And Dallas is no better than the Bills. Like if you could do it to the Bills, I'm sure you could do it to Dallas, right? Especially you're supposed to be an elite defense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Cowboys are just that good.
I'm gonna ignore that. Anyway, so they didn't play up to hype, but you could see it already. Like even with the Jets defense not being great yesterday, you saw the quick 3 and outs. Even in the first quarter, it was 3 and out, then 3 and out, then 3 and out. So the defense is on the field, and Dallas had the ball for like 40 something minutes.
So that's what I was gonna get at. I mean, it's kind of an outlier, right? Because the defense was on the field for so long that no matter how good they are, they're going to get tired. They're going to get beat up. So they're never going to be as good as they should be or are actually are because they're just so run down being on the field the whole game.
I agree. I mean, like, there's only so much you could do. And like I said, even though they didn't start off great, like I think that Dallas's first drive was it they scored or whatever, but then they held them a couple times. Like you're out there too long. It's just like last year. Like they got lucky being 7-4 with Zach Wilson, but that defense was playing way too hard. And then you saw it the second half of the year. They just not that they gave up, but they're just exhausted. And the more they're running around, the less they're getting a break with the offense. They're going to be terrible, which is why, like,
of course, and that's why you got to give it to them as far as the Cowboys go with the game plan because I think it was something like they had almost triple the amount of plays in the Jets side of the field than the Jets had plays.
Right? Yeah, it's wild, and like they didn't stick to the script. I don't think that they had in Game 1 against the Bills, where they were just running the ball, and that could have a lot to do with their offensive line. It could have been with the front defensive line with the Cowboys. But once again, the Bills aren't a bad team either, and you ran it down their throat, right? And you made it a close game, whatever. And we go into half, it's 18-10 after like a great throw and catch and run by Zach Wilson and Garrett. And you made it close, right? And then you get the ball at the half, right? So like you're thinking, I don't know what they were thinking, but you would think you would ground and pound, get that ball close, and if you settle for a field goal, now you're only down 5. That probably changes the entire second half.
Yeah. I mean, it got to the point too where you can tell that Wilson has an arm. He can really gun the ball. So it looked like it got to a point where he was just trying to force things downfield, which is probably what they should have been trying, but it just didn't work out. But let's see. I heard today on the radio on my way home from work that what they probably should be concentrating on at this point right now with the way things are is just quick dump offs to Garrett Wilson and
Lazard?
No, Garrett Wilson
and Brees Hall
and Brees Hall, and just let them do their thing because obviously
Brees Hall had a good game, right?
Incredible athletes. So just quick dump offs and let them do their thing, and I think that moving forward, that's the game plan that they should focus on.
What were they saying on the radio about Zach Wilson being able to do that though? Because last year he couldn't do that. He was overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys, like in the flat. Like he's, for whatever reason, he can make that throw all the way down the field sometimes, but he can't make that little dump off throw.
Yeah, but I mean, things are different, right? He's got the different coordinator. I think he's, as rough as it was this week, I think he's definitely a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more confident. And again, I think a big part of it's going to be if Rodgers ends up showing up on the sidelines one of these, coming weeks and just is there for support and, that's going to play a big part of it. But I think it's possible, and I think it's definitely worth a shot because what they tried this week obviously didn't work.
Yeah, I think what took people by surprise with the team is because Rodgers went down. I guess Robert Saleh thought like he didn't really have to micromanage the game as much because Rodgers was going to be in control of the offense and like you could just feed him the plays from Hackett and it'll run itself. Like you're not going to score 40 points or even 30 points every week, but it's going to be competent enough where you'll score 21 points and the defense will be off the field enough and then on the field to make great plays like they did against Buffalo, and you'll ice the game like that. And now it's revert back to last year, and now it's all pretty much resting on the coaches now to come up with creative ways to win ball games. And Hackett needs to do that. And so does Sal. Like they need to sit down and see what Zach Wilson can do with accuracy and figure out maybe even trick plays. Like in the second quarter yesterday when they were driving and like they got stopped at the ball, he was running the ball. Like he was like looking for people. They were covered and he would just step up through the pocket and then run for 10, 15 yards.
Yeah, but I think because we obviously know he can run, but I think part of the problem is they have to be super, skeptical about that right now with their situation because if he goes down, then they're really.
I mean, is it really going to be that bad with the guy Boyle? At least he's an experienced backup, and you could always sign somebody else who, like, it's not going to get much worse than Zach Wilson right now. So you got to be creative, and he needs to learn what to do. There was a couple of plays where he ran head first to people and got knocked out, and then he thought about it, and then he slid.
Right.
So
I saw that.
So like he learned, like, oh crap, I'm getting hit. Let me just. And he ran for 15 yards, slid, got the first down,
take what you can get, and
kept it moving.
Move on to the next play. Yeah, but I think that that was a good point that I heard today. That you need to do the quick dump offs and let these guys that are so uber talented just do their thing and make something happen out of nothing.
Right.
And then don't forget also that not every team is going to be the Dallas defense either. That's
right.
Got coming up. So.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
the Dallas defense is.
They look good now.
They
look good now.
Incredible.
They weren't that good last year, so I don't know what happened. Maybe.
They were a good defense last year, and if you look at their stats, I remember they showed at one point in the game yesterday, since Dan Quinn's been there since 2020, I want to say, they're like first in almost every category defensively. So
Really? So they're the number one defense every year?
yeah,
No.
since
2020.
yeah.
So the last
Since
3
Dan
years.
Quinn's been there, they've been overall the top ranked defense
Wow.
in a lot of categories, and I think points given up, they were like sixth in the NFL.
That's something. What do you think, Wanda? Did you happen to watch the Dallas Jet game yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah. I thought Dallas handled them, pretty easily. Yeah. Who does Dallas play this week? They play Arizona.
Yeah. We'll get to that, I guess, a little later in the show because we'll make our picks towards the end of the show for everybody, and we'll talk about how bad or good we did last week with the picks. But my other part of the rant was the Giants game. So not this week's Giants game, but last week's Giants when they played the Cowboys. That's why I was combining the two. The Giants got rocked 40-0, and there was a lot of jokes, a lot of memes, and all this stuff about how bad that game was, and it was terrible, right? So I'm not even going to get too much into the game itself. But I remember hearing people on the radio all week saying, like, that's the worst loss ever. And
I did hear that too.
Yeah, and this, that, and the other. And
statistically as well.
So then that's where this comes in, right? So I started looking up stuff and like worst losses, bad losses. And, people are just dumping on the Giants all week. I have at least 2 games that were, if not as bad, worse than that Giants.
Really?
And then I didn't go any farther because once I found one, I'm sure there's other ones throughout history.
Right.
Like I'm not going to list like the top 10 worst games. Like I really care.
So what do you got?
So back in 2019, the Dolphins, right, in back-to-back weeks 1 and 2, they lost to the Ravens 59-10.
Wow.
And then the next week's lost to the Patriots 43-0.
Wow.
Now, I mean, those are both, I would think, worse
that sounds
than the
worse.
Giants team. Especially, just by the sheer number. The second one, 43-0, is, you don't have to do math. You just got to know what number is greater than the other. That should be a bad game. But then I started thinking about it. Like, what were they really saying? Maybe they didn't have to come out and say it. You just have to, like, think logically. Back in 2019, maybe the Dolphins were just a terrible team, like almost an 0-16 or 2-win team, whatever they were. I didn't even check the stat for how.
Didn't have a $40 million a year quarterback.
Correct. So they're thinking
they had a quarterback carousel probably.
Not only that, like the Giants were a playoff team last year, and for the first week of the season to play Dallas, you lose 40-0, and that's why it was the worst game, especially with all the talent that the Giants have. Like they re-signed Saquon Barkley. Then you had, like Ernie, you just said, they have a $40 million quarterback, and maybe that's why it was one of the worst losses. But
he showed up yesterday.
There was a good amount of hype behind them for this year with their defense, was supposed to be tagged as this wonderful defense as well, and and don't forget it's New York,
right?
New York is always going to be
different beast,
magnified a lot more than a team in Florida, of course.
I guess you're right. So then we come into this week, and they start off against the Cardinals, and they're in Arizona, and they go down right away, like 20-0. And then I think it was 20-0 at the half, if I'm not mistaken. I was catching some of that game.
Yeah.
And then they come out of the second half, and every possession they scored either a touchdown or a field goal, and they wind up squeaking out a win. And I don't remember what the score was. I'm trying to look it up right now.
For which game?
31-28.
It was 31-28? Yeah, because the field goal, yeah. So they won by the field goal in last minute. The Giants.
Oh, the Giants
Cardinals
game yesterday, yeah.
And
quite the comeback by
it was one of the biggest
Dimes.
comebacks. I think it was the biggest comeback in Giant history. I think they were down 20 or 21, whatever it was. And they came back in the final seconds and kicked the field goal and won. So that was uplifting for them. So now they're 1-1 and they're right in the mix.
Now they got to play San Fran though.
Philly 2-0
and Washington.
And Washington 2-0. So they're right there.
Oh, I forgot about Washington. That's
they're
right.
all right there. Yeah, Washington came back against Denver. We'll talk about that in a second. But overall, the Giants are back in action, and they're not 0-2 because if they were 0-2,
yeah, that's bad.
Today would have been like hell day for the
And,
Giants fans.
Yeah, and the difference in the two New York teams is that, Daniel Jones has essentially put the team on his back and
Literally.
carried them to that victory.
Yeah.
Big second half for
Which
him.
is why I wish we had a quarterback that can do even half of that. But I digress. So that was my rant for today. It's now over, and now we're going to go into some of the football scores. I was at work yesterday. I was watching the Bills-Raiders game, and it was competitive for like the first quarter. The Raiders were looking good and everything like that, and then it's almost like Buffalo woke up and then just steamrolled them the rest of the way. Yeah. So Buffalo's back, and I don't know who they're playing next week and the week after, but I'm pretty sure they're going to wind up going on a run now because they won 38-10 against the Raiders, and after the first quarter they never looked back. They got a lead and they just kept piling on. So that's one of the teams that everyone's going to have to watch out for. I'm glad the Jets beat them last week because by the time we see them again, we're probably going to lose in Buffalo. I don't think they'll lose twice to us in 1 year. I would be shocked if that happened. And then you had a lot of good games this week. Did you see any of the games, the 1 o'clock games? Like I couldn't watch a lot of the games. I was at work, but I saw a lot of the highlights. There was a lot of back and forths.
Yeah, a lot of back and forths. Most games were tight, right?
Yeah.
I was stuck watching the Bills Raiders game, which, like you said, started out decent, but then Buffalo ran away with it. Before Gabe Davis looked great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Ravens Bengals was close and back and forth.
Yeah, I'm shocked Cincinnati lost.
Yeah, not a good start for Joey
or Joe Cool.
Burrow. Cool, yeah.
Especially since the Ravens were dealing with like 3 big injuries.
Yeah.
They were out 3 guys.
Oh, who they were? Well, Mark Andrews came back in that game.
Yes, he did.
So that was a huge factor. And it's funny how you get this guy Lamar Jackson some weapons, and all of a sudden, like they're 2-0, no big deal. And I don't know what's going on with the Bengals. I'm gonna keep riding them because I can't see them going 0-3. Right? Like they have a great team, wide receiver, running backs. The quarterback is a franchise quarterback. He's already been to the Super Bowl. He's not even like 27, whatever it is, and I can't see them not being competitive.
Yeah.
What was good is, as bad as Burrow was in the first half, he turned it around in the second half, which should be good for next week. Hopefully, they'll wind up getting a win. Otherwise, I'm going to be in some trouble.
Touching on some other week 2 games and the Jets, how much are you wishing you still had Geno Smith on your
team? Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, right? Would I take him right now? Absolutely, because he's actually a competent quarterback now, which I can't believe I'm saying. But the Jets haven't had him in like 7 years.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah. But don't act like he hasn't jumped around in the league like to other teams.
He seems to have really found a home in Seattle in this last season, and now so far this season he's killing it.
Yeah, he's doing good. And what are they? They're 2. I think Seattle's 2-0. No,
1-1. They pulled out a overtime win yesterday against Detroit.
That was a wild game. Like the highlights, it's like they were just slinging the ball everywhere. It was crazy, that game.
Geno Smith, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And how about, surprisingly, Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, I saw that.
Right? Did you get any highlights from that game, Warner?
No, I did see that they won, and then I also remember that he was their quarterback.
Right. So that's another guy that's all of a sudden starting off.
A little redemption story over there, huh?
But didn't do.
No, he didn't do much.
Or anything last year.
No, but he was. Remember, he went to the Rams and gave him a couple wins. They gave him a spark. So it looks like if you put.
And they did play the Bears yesterday. So
right, but the Bears are supposed to be decent too. No, they were people.
The Bears are horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're no good.
All right. I thought everyone was looking at Justin Fields to like break through this year, and the Bears are going to be something, but I guess not.
Yeah, they had an all around good game. I mean, Evans had a huge game.
Monster game.
White had a decent game carrying the ball, and Mayfield had a good game.
You don't have to tell me about it. I have White on my fantasy team. Finally doing me some justice after an 0-3 start last week with my teams. But
He's
and
back.
yeah, he's back. We'll talk fantasy in a little bit too. And San Francisco, the Rams San Francisco game was interesting. Did you watch any of that? Because that was a 4 o'clock game.
No.
That was very interesting. It felt like it wasn't so much back and forth. It was just a close game the whole time. And then San Francisco and
Pulled
Brock
away.
Purdy just pulled it out
Yeah.
like towards the end, and never looked back. But San Francisco's gonna be tough, man. And that guy Brock Purdy, man, for being Mr. Irrelevant, whew,
Yeah, he can play.
gonna be something, man? Just with that defense, as long as they stay healthy, they're gonna be tough to pass.
I mean, right now you got to say it's them and the Cowboys, the two best teams in the league.
Is that the Cowboy fan talking?
No, that's the
You don't think Philadelphia is better than Dallas?
No. Philadelphia lost way too many players on their defense.
I mean, they're still 2-0 though.
Yeah.
Who'd they play week 1?
The Patriots, I think. Yeah.
And the Vikings last week. Vikings aren't that good, I don't think.
I mean, they beat the Vikings 34-28, so
Yeah.
it was close.
Close. I don't know how close it was. I felt like they had a bigger lead.
Defense. Well, just to give you an idea, but not that he doesn't always put up numbers. Cousins put them up for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a good game. I was watching that game. It was a good game. And it's just Minnesota's defense sucks.
Right, but so does Phillies. I mean, obviously their defense is not that good.
I guess we'll see.
DeAndre Swift had a monster game.
Yeah, he did. People were upset because they had him on his bench.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, people were upset. Like, how did I not start him? Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, because they not like nowadays in football, you rarely have like the bell cow back, right? Where like he gets all the carries, he's playing the entire game.
Who's he sharing time with?
Last week he wasn't.
Right, that's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like Philadelphia is even worse than having a split.
Who's their other back?
They got a bunch. They almost have a 3-way
Scott
back system. Yeah. They have Scott, they have Swift, and they have Gainwell.
Gainwell. I forgot about Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, Gainwell in week 1 went off, and now he was hurt, so he was out this week. So then Swift stepped up, in, and then his backup was Penny and
I feel like
Scott.
I feel like Swift has been solid. It's just as long as he can stay on.
I always liked him.
As long as it's just can he stay on the field?
Pretty stupid choice not to start him against the Vikings.
Well, no, people told you not to stay away from those running backs because
you don't know who's going to get this chair.
Right, they don't even have 2; they have 3, if not 4, sometimes. Like Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch in week 1. Like they didn't even suit him up because they had too many running backs.
Yeah, so I guess it's hard to tell the touches. You know?
Exactly. I guess it depends if someone's hurt. So like, if I had those guys, my outlook would be okay. Which guys are playing? So if Gainwell and Swift are playing, just flip a coin, start one of them, and just hope they get the ball enough to give you like 10 to 15 points, and then that's it. If one of those guys are out, start the other one. Like depending on who you have, obviously. Like you know what I mean? Like that should have been, if you were going to draft and you drafted Swift first, you should probably have tried to get Gainwell as a handcuff on the way back so that if one of them's hurt, you start the other one, they're going to have a monster game. Because Gainwell had the good game week 1. Now he was out week 2, and Swift has the good game week 2. And then you had Scott and I think Penny have a couple touches, but nothing crazy. And they're both good. You know, Gainwell's been on the team a while. He knows the system, and Swift is just a good football player, like you said, Wonder. As long as he stays healthy, he's money, you know? So it's just a coin flip with them. So, you know.
Yeah, it's funny how, you know, we keep talking about how, you know, the days of the running backs are going out the window. Yet there were so many running backs that had monster games this week.
Mm-hmm.
When you look through the stats, it's like, how many guys rushed for over 100 yards? It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I just don't think they value them money-wise, right? Because
monetarily,
they could be replaced.
Yeah, but the game is changing too. I mean, you know, it's hard to say that with what happened yesterday and this week, but the game is changing. It's all you know, a throwing game now, but not this week. There was a lot of running backs that had good games.
Yeah, and I think that's going to pretty much happen every week, right? So it all depends on, where your team's position is, what the score is, because obviously if
How
you're
much
up,
faith you have in your quarterback?
right, that's like yeah, there's so many factors, right? Like if you have a good quarterback and you're up 7, you can hand the ball off and throw a pass here and there and just let grind out the game and run the clock like old school football. Um, and then if you don't, you're probably just going to try. If you have a good running back, probably just going to try to run the ball no matter what's going on. Because if you got someone like Zach Wilson, like you said earlier with Brees Hall, you should just be looking to get him into the action and just let him go and see what happens. Like there was a play, I think it was in the third quarter. I want to say it was the third quarter. And the first play, first down, he rushes for 9 yards, and they wound up 3 and outing in that like that set of downs. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself like, why would you not just run it again? If you don't want to run it back to back with Brees Hall, that's why you have Dalvin Cook. Let him run it right up the middle. He's a big dude.
Yeah,
You can get a yard.
He had a rough game.
He
He
did.
had a rough game.
But he fumbles a lot. We know this. So like maybe he's the guy that you toss out to the side.
But
Quick
he
screenplay.
ran for negative yards. He didn't even have positive yards rushing yesterday.
I mean, he should be able to get a yard on 2nd and 1, dude.
He did it yesterday.
Well, for that set of downs, they didn't run the second.
Right.
They passed. And then I forget what happened. I don't know if he got sacked or something like that, or it was incomplete. And then third down, they go to run for it, and they didn't get it. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, man. Like the coaches got to get their heads out of their ass and start thinking of some kind of like creative plays, I guess. Maybe
That's pass interference.
I don't know, but everyone at home, we're actually watching the Carolina Saints game, so that's what Rwanda is talking about. There's a pass interference, but it wasn't called. Right now it's 3-3 in the second because I can't see it, but it's plenty of game time left. Move on to that. We got our fantasy for the week. So last week I went 0-3. I lost all 3 of my leagues, and that was awful. And as of right now, I'm 2-0 this week, and I'm hopefully going to sweep the week if Watson can just give me 18 points today. So I'm rooting against Pittsburgh and for the Browns, just so that Watson cannot throw like 100 interceptions or fumble the ball a bunch, and just give me a couple of touchdowns and maybe 200 yards passing, maybe some rushing yards, and I could sweep this week. And then I'll be happy. I'll be 1-1 all across the board, and I'll be back in the action.
Back at 500.
Yep, back at 500 and trying to go for more wins. And that's the one I used to play. I know you're not playing this year, but that's the problem when you have multiple teams, or at least then you got to start pulling
multiple leagues.
Multiple leagues, and it gets crazy. Ernie, I know you just recently got back into it. How are you doing this week?
Not good. Little Jenna Lim is wiping the floor with me like the Cowboys wiped the floor with the Giants in week 1.
Really? It's that bad? What's the score right now? Do you even have a chance?
No chance.
Oh, so you're getting smoked.
I'm getting smoked.
There was no DraftKings yesterday, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to start a new one next week.
Cool.
So be on the lookout for that. I just didn't have a chance to
all good, brother.
Set up a DraftKings league weekly thing for us. But I was happy with a lot of my guys playing. Like a lot of the guys that I drafted did really well this week. Rashid White was one of them. I even think Gibbs did okay for Detroit.
He's on Detroit.
Had a monster game. Like I got him like deep in the draft. I said this guy might be good this year, and it looks like he might be one of those guys that wins you a league, and people are gonna have to start watching out for him. He had 7 catches, 146 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud had a monster game in that loss, 384 yards.
Yeah,
that was against the Colts too.
Right.
The one thing that's got me is this guy Richardson on the Colts, the quarterback that they drafted, who had 2 early rushing touchdowns, 18 yards or 15 yards, I think they were. Like, I mean, this guy is like something special. But
and he was out.
Second game in a row, he's got knocked out of the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like I don't get. I get that they're so talented, but these guys that go for these running quarterbacks, it's impossible for them to stay healthy because they're gonna get smacked around.
Yeah,
This
they
guy,
are.
God knows how long he's gonna be out now. If he's in concussion protocol, I mean, I could see this being where this guy lasts a year or two and then he's nowhere to be found again.
So I think what the problem with these guys, since they're so mobile and so athletic, is they lean on the run early on. And you saw Daniel Jones do it. There's a bunch of people that do, even Lamar Jackson, because they're not comfortable in that pocket yet. So their first instinct is always run, get out of the pocket and run.
Right.
And that's what you saw in that game, and that's what you see across the football league now. Is everyone wants that mobile quarterback because they want that as an option because it messes up the defense, right? And hopefully with him, hopefully this year, like as this season progresses, he'll get more comfortable in the pocket and start throwing the ball. And that's what you hope as a coach or even like the owner and GM, like he turns into like a little bit of hybrid of both. Like he could run when he needs to, only when he needs to, and it's not his first option. His first option is going to be to pass.
Right. Like the greats do.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is
even Daniel Jones, he's not running as much.
Is he going to last long enough to get to that point?
Right. Well, that's what the coaches are for. Like they got to get him during the week to get a little bit more comfortable each week. So maybe by mid-season, now he's sitting back there and slinging the ball around the field, and he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because you're right. If he doesn't, and that's all he's going to do, he's going to be RG3 all over again, and a bunch of other people. You know what I mean?
That's rough to see, man. That's why they need to sign Jonathan Taylor already and get him back on.
Well, yeah, that would help tremendously because he could do almost what we want Zach Wilson to do, is just dump it off to him and let his talent take over and run around. And I don't know, man. Like I have him on one of my fantasy teams. I forget which one it is, and he's on my IR right now. And I hope he comes back ready to play and everything like that. And whether they trade him somewhere good, which ultimately is what I'm hoping. Like they trade him to a team that's like a contender that needs a running back, and then he fits right in and he winds up having a monster season, because that will literally make my team super strong. Because I have a lot of my leagues I went with Rashad White and James Cook, and they both had monster games this week, both over 100 yards, and both receiving both catching a couple passes and a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, Cook looks good on Buffalo. He's that. It looks a lot like a Brees Hall there, right? You can break one for long. You can catch a short one and make something happen. So
he looks really good, and that's going to be important for my fantasy team moving forward. And with those two guys, and then you move in Taylor, as long as he stays healthy, and I got him like in the 8th or 9th round, like that's a steal, And like I said, Joe Burrow's hopefully turn around. The only person I'm worried about on my fantasy team is Najee Harris. Everybody hates him. I had no choice but to take him.
I think he had a good finish to the season last year. I think
it was okay. I think he was okay last year, just not as.
I know early on he was. I know early on he wasn't great, but I think he finished the seaon pretty decent.
But his stats are like, when you look at his stats, they were terrible overall, like for the whole entire season.
So, I mean, not really great offense either,
No, well, they had Pickett. I think that was his rookie year last year. So we'll see. They're playing tonight, so I'm going to watch that game a little bit and hopefully see like maybe he can prove people wrong. I don't really know. Like I'm kind of hoping that he does something, because he was on my championship team 2 years ago when he was a rookie, and he was a monster, and he was hurt. And he hurt his foot like in the fantasy playoffs. And he's still a monster.
Liz Frank.
But whatever. That's it, I guess, for fantasy. Do you have anyone that you're targeting on waivers yet, guys?
No. I mean, I picked up Zach Moss this week, so
he's on the Colts, right?
And
he had a lot of work this week.
I didn't start him. Of course, he had a good game.
Well, that's part of fantasy, my friend.
Even if I started everybody that I could have.
I want to see what you're losing by.
I have the lowest scoring team in the league.
You do 78 points. Yeah, you're getting throttled right now.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh boy. Yeah, you know what though? At least you're not going up against the highest scoring guy right now. You know, I might be the highest scoring guy right now, but I only hope that Watson can get me 18 points, and then I will be the highest scorer. But
Well,
other than
Jenna still has a chance too. She's got Nick Chubb going tonight and Cleveland defense.
oh yeah,
Yep.
see, yeah, Chubb, the Browns. Wow, what is she? She's projected. Oh, she's projected for 168 though. We'll see if they do good and they beat the hell out of the Steelers. She probably be up there. But right now, I'm going against Team Chris. You know, Steve Kelly's son. So I want to beat him. I can't go on
A
to.
lot of big scores in fantasy this week.
Yeah, it was a good week overall. Football was good this week. I'm sad I missed a lot of the games because I'll tell you what, Fallon's at 4 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Giants and Jets were playing at 4
Yeah,
o'clock.
I'd say that's part of it. Yeah.
Packed, dude. There was so many people there. Me
You
and
guys have a table or
no, we had a stand-up table because I guess they knew it was gonna be packed. They just threw a bunch of tables in the middle, like those stand-up tables.
Oh right, yeah.
So like we were standing for a little bit. A family left. They gave us their like high stool chairs, and we sat for the second half of the game. But it was packed. There was people everywhere, man. It was, whew. But good time for a little while until it just sucked and lost. But, you know what are you gonna do? This is football week to week, and we enjoy it. We love it. They're the kings right now of all sports, and you know that's it. What are you gonna do? I'm just glad I'm somewhat happy with my fantasy teams right now. I'm not gonna be a big loser like last week, you know.
Well, that's if Deshaun does well.
Yeah, even if he doesn't, and I wind up going 0-2 there, at least I'm 1-1 in the other ones.
Okay.
I do want to be 1-1 across the board, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? So I'll take what I can get.
Hopefully he got a massage before the game.
Yeah, let's hope so. He's nice and relaxed. Let's just hope he plays a solid game. I don't need much from him. I need 18 points. What's 18 points? You know, he rushes for 30 yards. There's 3 points right there, right? He throws for 200. That's like, what is it? 8 points right there. That's 16. You throw a touchdown, you're good. You play a clean rest of the game, no interceptions, no fumbles. I'm a winner. I'm not asking for much, am I?
No.
Watson, if you're watching
Seems
before
reasonable.
game, like, give me 18 points, guy. What are you doing? Throw a touchdown, rush a touchdown, I don't care. 18 points all I need. I'm a winner. All right? That's it.
Not asking for much.
No, I'm not answering. I'm just a guy watching you play, and hopefully you score 18 points. If you score 37, great. If you score 16, I'm going to kill you. I'm not, but I'm going to be really mad at you next week. So you're going to score 16 points. I'm going to lose by a point and a half. You're killing me. Then I'm really going to be pissed at the Green Bay Packers defense because they can't stop nobody, and they give me 0 points. Like, what are you doing? And that'll be a whole nother rant next week, and I don't think anyone wants to hear that one. Right? I don't know. Anyway, I'm done with football. What do we got next? Anything good with baseball? Nope, nothing's good with baseball. You know, I don't even know why we're talking about it anymore. I can't wait for
still
this.
playing baseball?
Yeah, I don't even know.
A couple more weeks,
someone
right?
playing tonight? I don't know. Like, it's Monday. I feel like someone should be playing baseball tonight, but I don't care. You know, the Yankees had a chance to win yesterday. They're playing the Pirates. They lose. They're actually making up ground in the wild card. So if they would have won yesterday, I think they would have been 5 games out, which is not.
No kidding.
Yeah, which is not wild or anything like that, but like
A sign of life.
yeah, like you're still doing it, right? I mean, they only scored 2 runs. Like I was watching a few of these games. Like they scored a couple runs against the Pirates.
Yeah, I think I might have looked at the box score real quick, and it looked like Rodon had a decent game. I think he had like 10 strikeouts or something I saw.
He had a good game, but like, once again, it's against the Pirates. And like, why aren't the Yankees scoring like 6 to 8 runs against the Pirates? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's their problem? Like I know their offense sucks, right? I get it. Like, they're not hitting the ball. They're awful most of the time. Like, so if they don't hit a home run or whatever, they're not really going to score much. But you know, Friday they did all right, 7-5. Saturday they did okay too, with 6-3. But it wound up being late in those games that they won. Friday they won in the ninth. They scored 4 runs in the ninth to win. So they were down 5-3 and scored 4. You know, Saturday I don't remember, but like I feel like that was close the whole game. It was like 2-2, then 3-3, and then all of a sudden they broke it open a little bit.
And what is it now? Stanton's starting to hit home runs and nobody else is doing anything?
Yeah, like he hit a home run like a couple days, like over the weekend, and it's like, oh, it's a big deal or whatever. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, they suck. They're just winning just enough to be over 500, so they don't have a losing season. But like, really, who gives a crap? They could have won yesterday and been like 5.5 games.
That's crazy.
Right. And right now the Mariners are trending down. The Rangers just started trending back up because they're only 6-4 in their last 10 games. Same thing with the Blue Jays. So if they would have won yesterday, they would have picked up a game on both of them. And they could hop over the Mariners if they weren't so bad and be like close. Like they're now 6.5 out, right? And the funny thing is the Blue Jays right now are in the second wild card. They play them 6 times in the next like week and a half or so. Like they play it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you beat the piss out of the Blue Jays, which I don't expect them to, and they won yesterday, they might have had a real shot to be in the playoffs, which would be crazy, right? Because you play the Blue Jays tomorrow to Thursday. Then you got the Arizona Diamondbacks. So if you win 2 out of 3 there, everyone was saying like a couple of weeks ago that if they go 18-5 to finish the season, they'd be in the playoffs. And I think this is when they started Detroit. I have to really count it out. But they should have. They took 3 out of 4 against Boston. They took 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. They were supposed to sweep them. They should have won 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee. They didn't. They lost 2 out of 3. So that was a thing there. And they should have swept Detroit, and they didn't dare. So they're just going to miss the mark again. And I'd be pissed if they beat the balls off the Blue Jays and the Diamondbacks and then end the season with the Royals and then wind up like 1 or 2 games out of the playoffs. It'll just drive me nuts, right? And we all know they suck, so they don't really even deserve to be in the playoffs. But I feel like with the National League, a lot of times,
It's just a matter of getting in.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was literally going to say that.
Washington Nationals.
Yeah. Nationals, the Phillies last year made it
Phillies
to the
World
last year.
Series.
They lost, but they
still
still
though,
made it.
and they were a mediocre team.
Yeah, they won 88 games, like nothing crazy, right? So but that doesn't happen in the AL, right? And like, it would have been cool this year for something like that to happen with the Yankees, where all the times they're picked to be like the division leader, going to the playoffs, going to the World Series, and they had such a horrible year and sneak in and then do something crazy. Like that would have been awesome.
So let's see. Who do the Yankees have left for the rest of the
I just said it. The Blue Jays, the Diamondbacks, the Blue Jays again, and the Royals. So they have 12 games left. All right, 6.
So they got 3 against Toronto, 6 against Toronto.
Yeah, home and away, 3 each. The Diamondbacks at home. So this upcoming week, they have 3 at home, Blue Jays, 3 Diamondbacks. Then they go on the road. They end the season on the road. So this is their last homestand. Blue Jays, and then the Royals. And then it's over.
And the six games against Toronto.
Huge. Huge.
The team you want to be playing.
Right. So, like, if you sweep Toronto here, you could theoretically pick up 3 games. You're going to pick 3 games up on them, but you still have to worry about the Mariners. So if the Mariners keep losing and the Rangers, then you get closer and closer to that 3rd spot, but even that 2nd spot, because then the Rangers could hop over them because they're only half a game up. So then if Toronto winds up being the 3rd seed, now it gets even more interesting, because if you beat them 5 or if not all 6, I really think you have to beat all 6, right? Because if you win 5, you only pick up 4 games, and they're 6.5 back.
Right.
And they're 6.5 back from Texas, which means they're really 7 back from Toronto. So now you're hoping if you sweep both, and out of those other 6 games, you're 1 game better, then you also have the tiebreaker against the Blue Jays. You hop over them and you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they're not eliminated yet. It's a stretch. Everyone out there, I'm not thinking this is going to happen. But I like the fact that it's still close. If they would have won another game against the Brewers and swept either the Detroit Tigers or the Pirates, they'd be a little bit closer and it'll be a little bit more exciting. But I guess we're still going to monitor them a little while, just not when football's on, because they're off today anyway, and then they're off next Monday, so we don't have to worry about it on when we're doing our shows anyway the next 2 weeks. And come 3 weeks from now, we'll probably be telling you that they didn't make the playoffs, and better luck next year, and we'll be talking free agency in a month. But that's that. And I don't know what do you got on the Mets, Ernie? Like, what's going on with the
How
Mets?
about real quick, just before we
Yeah.
leave that, it's showing here that this series against Toronto, there's tickets available as low as $2.
Wow.
You want to go? You want to go? It's not far from my work. We could go. We could go tomorrow if you want.
Jeez, $2.
Yeah, it's almost like a Mets game. You know, the Yankees are above 500, but you know they're selling tickets like they're the Mets, which is fine. No big deal. It is what it is. The Mets are 69-80, by the way. I don't know if anyone saw that.
Wow.
Yeah. Which sadly enough, they're only eight and a half games back of the wild card, which is only 2 games worse than the Yankees, and they have 69 wins and we have 76, so we're 7 games better than them.
Wow.
That shows you how messed up the National League is, right?
And how good the Braves are.
Right. Well, the Braves are crazy. Like, there's 12 games left. They already have 96 wins, so they're easily going to win over 100 games, right? I guess we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's all I got for baseball. What else do we got going on? There hasn't been any crazy movies out. Anyone seen anything crazy?
No.
Did you see any films?
No, not this last coming week. I have started a TV show.
Oh, what'd you start?
The Bear on Hulu.
Oh, great show.
I don't know if anyone did
Great.
we speak about that?
It's a great show.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No?
No, I'm kidding. It's actually pretty cool. I'm only 4 episodes in, and I think I'm halfway through the 4th episode.
I mean, if you're into that scene and you're into that.
What scene is that?
The food scene.
Oh.
And you know, if you're in that industry, then you could see where it's very appealing.
Well, you were in that industry, so you like the show, huh?
Oh yeah.
Is that what you dealt with? Like in the
Very much
beginning of the show or the first couple episodes, this guy's dealing with like a lot of debt. People are coming in for money. Apparently, his brother like owed a lot of people a bunch of money, right? So, Ernie, since you're the only one here that owned a business or two, is that something like somewhat realistic a lot of times?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. You know, it's very hard business to make it in. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very realistic. Very realistic.
Yes.
And listen, you hear what they say, right? Like, what is it? 80% of businesses fail within the first year, so it's very realistic, and it's good. It's well done. You know, obviously, it's a little bit of a different take because it's, you know, you're dealing with the more modern day food scene where you have all these high-end chefs and really properly trained chefs.
Well, that's what he was,
Yeah.
right? And then he goes to like this,
Right.
like basically it's almost like a deli, right?
Right.
But
right.
like they cook like sandwiches and it's a
Right.
sandwich.
It's like an
right?
Italian beef
and,
place,
and,
right?
and
Mhm.
trying to, you know, take it to the next level, right? With legit kitchen, legit staff, and you know, that's where the realistic part of it comes into play, where that when you're trying to run that kind of an operation, that's some stressful shit.
So you own 2 different businesses, right? Am I allowed to say what they were, or?
Yeah.
So Ernie owned Nina's Pizza for a long time, and he also owned the Brew House, both in New Hyde Park. Brew House is more of a sports bar, and obviously Nina's Pizza is a pizzeria, but with really good, by the way, one of the best chicken parm heroes I've had in my life, even though he doesn't.
I miss
make it
Nina's.
for me anymore. Yeah. A lot of my friends work there. A lot of his family I know from there. So, as far as like the show The Bear, where they have like it's almost like a deli, would you think that's like almost like similar to a pizzeria, since it's like one of those like you just pumping out, like you're pumping out pizza, he's pumping out sandwiches. It's almost like a similar thing. Like it's not really a restaurant per se.
Yeah, but
it could be.
It's more. It's just more of a take on, like I said, the modern day scene where you have all these really well trained, again, like I said, real legit chefs getting into those kind of businesses where it's not, fancy tablecloth, sit down joints where, but they're bringing that kind of a menu to that kind of a joint.
Right. So when are you gonna make me that chicken parm?
Anytime.
At the very least, you should make me a meatball parm. Like, I get it, chicken's getting a little expensive. You gotta bread it. It's a lot more time. Just make up a bunch of meatballs, throw it on a hero.
Chicken parms are a lot easier to make than meatball parms.
Really? Meatball, you just slap meat together, a little seasoning, boom, make the meatballs, and then when you do that, you make the
You gotta
sauce.
roll them. You gotta
Oh,
bake
come on,
them.
now you're being lazy. Now, you know what we should do? We should do a cooking show one time. We'll film it from the kitchen while you're making the sauces and stuff and the meatballs, and we'll talk about shit. And then you'll be making, and then we'll taste it on the air, right? Like you'll make a hero.
Sounds good.
I'd rather just wait for the Kellys to buy their pizza oven than to keep talking about it, and we'll do a pizza episode.
That's not a bad idea either. We could do both, though. I feel like no.
Why not?
Yeah. Anyone else, other shows? I do like The Bear. It's looking good.
I'm trying to think what I watch. Well, I watch. I've been keeping current with Reservation Dogs. I watched an episode of Winning Time where
Yes.
it goes into Larry Bird's backstory. I guess I thought that was pretty
the
good.
Lakers backstory, but it has a lot to do with the rivalry between them and the Celtics in the '80s.
Right, yeah. So they go to it's his home. It was before he signed with the Celtics. So I thought that was cool.
Is that all done yet?
Huh?
No. Is that second season all done yet?
No.
I have some bad news. It's been canceled.
What?
Yeah.
How'd you find that out?
I saw the headline today somewhere.
Oh, so it's only gonna be 2 seasons?
Yeah, that's it.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised too because I thought I thought it's getting better.
Oh, so you know what that means? That means they wrap it up in the second season. There's no way they leave it. They knew that was coming.
I liked. I thought the first season was good. I'm enjoying the second one. I would imagine people are watching it, but who knows? I mean, I just saw today that it got canceled.
How many episodes are out right now? Does anyone know? Because I want to get ready to watch it, but I'm not starting to watch it until it's all done.
I think they're up to like episode 5.
No, that can't be right. I saw it like a few weeks ago. It was like 4. There's got to be more than that.
So maybe a couple more.
If only anyone that had HBO Max could check.
It's like 5 or 6, 4, 5 or 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's like saying this is 1, 2, or 3. No big deal, Aaron. Thanks. Anyway, I guess you're looking up if it was really canceled.
Oh, tonight's is season 2's finale.
Oh, so episode 6 is the finale?
So yesterday's was the finale. I guess they just stopping the show. Wow, that's crazy.
I can't believe I'm gonna have to look this up. It has to be.
It's
That's abrupt.
It's due to ratings, it's saying.
Really? So
Yeah.
no one wants to watch? Oh, you know what it is? Let me see. Probably just like people just don't want to watch Magic Johnson and Larry Bird go at it anymore.
While the final decision to end the show before season 3 was made relatively recently, it did not come as a total shock to the producers. Network Brass had given them a heads up a couple of weeks into season 2 that ratings for the series weren't showing the signs of momentum needed for a renewal.
They don't even have season 2 on IMDb, which I find weird. Is it called something different on season 2?
No.
Can someone find out how many episodes there are? I don't even have HBO on here. I still have Max.
It's on Max.
No, like the old HBO Max. Anyway, we're gonna go to our football picks now. Before we cut
7
this.
episodes.
Wow, that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's it. Oof. They didn't even make it 10. I wonder if they just cut it short.
Well, most shows nowadays are only 8 episodes.
Yeah, but last season was 10. The first season was 10. That's why originally when you said yesterday was supposed to be the last one, I was like, oh, it's got to be close to 10, at least 9 or something like that. It didn't even make it.
The other thing that I watched, I started watching last night, the Biz Marquee documentary on Showtime, and that's pretty good. So I'm looking forward to finishing that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know they made.
Yeah, they have a lot of music docs on Showtime.
Nice.
Yeah, good ones that
So
I've
we
seen.
ready for our picks? Football picks for week 3.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Well, do we recap week
Oh yeah,
one?
let's do that
Oh,
first.
so let's do that first. So, Ernie, give us the stats for week 1. I know I was a big loser, but give it to us anyway.
So
You're the geek of the week.
Yeah.
Pugs is the big loser for week 1, going 0 for 4.
Ooh, big time. 0 for 4.
Not only did he go 0 for 4, but none of his teams even won the game and just lost out because of the spread. He picked
Just L's all
4
around.
losers.
Wow. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
Wanderer went 1 for 4.
1 for 3.
1 for 4.
We picked 5 games.
He went 1 for 4. He picked
1
4
out of
games
4.
and won
Oh, so
1.
1 and 3 then. It's 1 and 3. Right.
That's what I said.
1
He went
for 4.
1 for 4.
I don't like how you do that. It's like
I knew what he
say
meant.
the Dallas Cowboys are 2 for 2 when you say the standings. No, you don't. You knucklehead. You say they're 2-0.
One.
So
one-
what? Now let's recorrect.
1 out of 4
Ernie,
picks.
You know, Fredo, Ernie, Stroy over here. What did Wanderer do?
He went 1 and 3.
Thank you.
With
Now
the
let's go to the
Cowboys
big winner.
saving him.
Right. Now let's go to the big winner.
I was the big winner at a whopping 2 and 2.
There you go. So the standings right now.
Even
Ernie,
Steven is the leader,
Yeah, Ernie first, Wanderer second, me and Dead last.
bringing up the rear.
But that's nothing new for me. So
we'll let the loser go first with this pick.
okay, so I'm gonna go first. Here we go. I have the Bengals. I'm gonna ride this until they get a win. I don't care what happens every week. The Bengals in week 3 are gonna win. Burrows is starting to turn around in the second half. They're gonna come out. They're not gonna be 0-3. They're gonna want to winning this game. They're minus, what was it, 5.5 or something like that?
The Bengals are -2 for week 2.
Okay, so they're -2 for the week. They're given 2. I like them. My next pick also I'm riding with because I'm very fond of the Chargers and it's a pick 'em. So all they got to do is win here, folks. There's no
We both
spread
like
as of
the
right
Chargers.
now. So, yep. So I'm taking the Chargers. Their defense has got to hold up at least this week. They also can't be 0-3. So the Chargers is my second pick. And then I got the Lions coming off a brutal loss to Seattle. I think they're going to rebound. They're going to be a hot team this year. So the Lions are what? -4.5?
I don't know, man.
The Lions are -3.5.
3.5.
I feel like they were lucky to even come back yesterday.
Who are the Lions?
Yeah.
I mean, it
They
was
knocked me out of my Survivor, so I'm a little bitter about
I
that
was
too.
gonna say, I was like, they really weren't that far behind. They were going back and forth that game. But whatever. So those are my 3 picks. Then you got the Jets paying the Patriots, right?
Yep.
I obviously have to pick the Jets. I want them to see that. I want hopefully Zach Wilson can finally get a win against the Patriots. He was 0-2 last year and looked miserable. Hopefully the guys this week can do something creative and figure out a game plan against Belichick. I am nervously optimistic because Belichick always likes to screw the Jets. So I know he's going to have something up the sleeve. But I like them at +2 because basically if they win, I'm good.
+3.
+3? It's +3?
Yes.
See, this is what
Unless he wears that cutoff sweatshirt.
Here's the rant. ESPN, get your shit together. Because Ernie's looking up on the website, ESPN, they have different spreads than the app on ESPN. Because I was looking at the app. And that's why I'm getting all these spreads mixed up. Get your shit together, ESPN. All right. I know you work for Disney now and everything and this, that, and the other. Can you be consistent? Can you have the same spreads on both platforms, please? All right, I'm done with my picks. Wander, go with yours.
Sure. All right. So my picks for this week. First, we're going with the Miami Dolphins -6.5. Laces out. Next, we are going with going with the Seattle Seahawks -4.5. And third, as I mentioned, I also like the Chargers and pick 'em. And then for the Dallas game, I'm actually going to take the Cardinals plus the 12.5. And those are the picks for me for week 3.
Boo, Wander, boo.
Yeah, not a homer.
He's going
right there.
against his team, but it's actually a smart move. I don't blame you. 12.5 is a big spread.
It's a big number.
And Arizona played well against the Giants for the first 3 quarters. For the
Yeah.
most part, but whatever. Dallas is probably going to rock them, by the way. But anyway,
We'll see.
I didn't pick them. It's not my team to pick. I could have picked them as my 3. I'm not going to touch a spread that big. And now we're going to go over to Big Earn. Earn, take it away. Mr. 2
The
and
head
2,
honcho.
The head honcho right now. He's leading the pack. Let's go.
All right. So with my first pick, I'm going to take the Jets. Getting 3.
Wow.
Woo!
I know Pugs likes that one.
They haven't beaten the Patriots in a while. I'm confident that Hackett's going to wake up and do the right thing with Wilson and Brees Hall and just dump the ball, let them make some magic. Then my second pick, I'm going with the Chiefs. They are giving 13. But I think that they are just getting in the groove. Jones is back. Kelsey's back. I think they're going to have a huge game. My third pick is going to be the Lions.
Ooh, we got 2 people on the Lions. Roar.
I almost feel like I'm going to go 4-0 this week.
Yeah, I like the Lions. I've always liked the Lions. They're up and coming, so I'm going to go with them. And then with the Cowboy game, I am going with the Cowboys. They're giving 12.5, and I think they're going to destroy the Cardinals.
In the desert.
I mean, to be fair, like, that's a great pick. Like, I like both sides of it, right? Because you never think someone's going to win by 12.5. But right now, in the first 2 games of the season, against a playoff team last year as the Giants and a Jets team that's supposed to be in the playoffs this year, and the Jets have supposedly a monster defense, they beat them both
handedly.
Like by plenty of points. So why would you think they wouldn't do that to the Cardinals? Like, they at least have to win by 15, 17, something like that. Like,
you would hope so, right?
Right. Well, I guess we'll see. That's what playing the game's all about, right?
That's right.
Any given Sunday, right?
Yes. So to wrap this show up, gentlemen, let's get your music picks of the week, Wander, and then we'll close it out.
Let's do it. All right, we got 3 selections this week. We are going with Nas and Hit Boy with Magic 3. For the second pick, we got an older record. This is By the Way by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And third selection, this is a few years old as well. Stove God Cooks with Reasonable Drought. So those are the selections for this week.
All right. And that's going to wrap up the episode. This is week 2, pretty much in the books. Right now, you got the Steelers winning by 4, 7-3, and the Saints 6-3 over the Carolina Panthers as we're ending the show. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you next week. Hopefully my picks, I go 4-0 and I can even myself up at 500. Almost just like my fantasy team is going to be even at 500. And, we'll go from there next week. And we'll have more picks for you and more nonsense sports to talk about. All right, everyone have a good week.
Have a great weekend.
Stay up.
That's right.